Welcome to those of you that are joining. Like I said, this is the first time I have done a Facebook Live video. I am super excited. Those of you that know me, I've been a demonstrator for almost 23 years. And for many of those years, I stamped with people. I was always in front of people, demonstrating exactly what I'm going to do today. And I've really missed that. So I decided to kind of venture out into this world of Facebook Live because I feel like I'm stamping with you guys. Although I wish you were in the room with me. It's kind of strange. I feel like I'm talking to myself. But anyhow, I have some fun projects that I want to share with you today. So thank you so much for joining me. All kinds of stuff to share with you. So let's get rolling. I want this really to be a learning time for you. I want to show you some fun projects, but I want you to learn. And I have lots of fun little stamping tips that I'm going to throw in along the way that I hope are beneficial to you, whether you do the same projects that I'm showing you or just your stamping in general. So as I have kind of alluded and talked about a little bit, we are going to play today with the Christmas quilt set. But it does come in a bundle with these super cool framelits. There's lots of parts and pieces to the framelits. Let's see, there's not one there. That one goes right there. So I did this little kind of cheat sheet to show you. But this shows all the different pieces and how they cut out. Because I was a little confused at first. So this piece here, when you combine it with the square that comes with it and you stack them together like this as you cut, you're going to get this piece right here. And you'll see me do this in just a little bit. And then all the little center pieces, when you cut that, there they are. You're going to have all these little pieces, and that's what we're going to play with today. So we also have a bold flower. Okay, and then when you, same sort of thing, you can stack these together, and if you cut them together, you get this flower, plus all the little petals fall out, so you can take these petals and put them back in there or do whatever you want with it. So kind of cool. Then there is this one that if you stamp this piece, and you'll see this in a little bit, this will just cut out the shape like so. And then this funky looking piece right here doesn't cut anything, but it adds stitching lines. So we'll move this up here. See all the little stitching lines in there? I took this piece here, and after I cut it out, you lay this one on top of it, and it runs it through, and it just gives you the stitching lines. Same with the triangles here. So, and we have the spool with the needle and the little Christmas. I guess this is what makes it Christmas, and the star. So we're going to use some of these pieces in the projects that I have to share with you, but I wanted to give you just kind of a peek at these dies. Because like I said, they're a little bit confusing, kind of wondering what piece does what. So we'll do a little bit of prep work first, and then we'll go ahead and make the cards. So to start, I actually cheated a little bit so you guys don't have to just watch me big shot a whole bunch of things. I had 3x3 squares of Designer's Series paper, and then here's a crushed curry because this matched in there with my quilt, 3x3 piece, and I cut that one out as well. So I want to do one just for you so you really realize this truly does work. But for this one, I have a card front, and you'll see this will actually be my third card. You'll see later why it's a card front that I'm cutting out of. But I'm going to take the front of the card and use the same frame piece, and I am going to lay it, I don't know, you call that at an angle, right on there. I am using the magnetic platform because it helps hold things where I want it. And we'll just put the other piece on there. And then I am going to run this through the big shot. Okay, I cut that one out. You'll see it's in the front of my card. And I'm going to set that aside because, like I said, that's card number 3. And let's just punch those out. Now I have a 3x3 piece of Whisper White that I'm going to do as well. Now, this one I left uncut so that I could show you what I did. With the framelits, there actually is a square. So you can cut these two out at the same time on your piece of cardstock, and it will give you the same look, only this outside border will be just as thin as all of these inside pieces. And I found when I started working with it, I really liked the outside being a little bit bigger. It made it a little bit easier to handle and to do things with. So instead of using the square, I just take a 3x3 piece and I eyeball this one to line it up in the center We'll put that there, and then we'll grab our other plastic sheet, and then we'll run this one through the Big Shot. Anyway, I'm popping this out and taking this piece out. This one wanted to stick a little bit. There we go. So there is our piece and our set of white. So I've saved all our little pieces so that we can make 3 quilts. Back to our first card here. We have our little frame, and I have 2 other things here. This was 3 by 3. So then I have a 2 7/8 square piece of Whisper White that I'm going to put this on because I'm going to fill in all of these little pieces, and I need something to be behind it. Now this piece really could be any color. It doesn't matter because you're not going to see it when you're all done. Hi Laura, thanks for joining us. Oh, Connie says funnest is a word, so okay, I'm good. My English sometimes I think is bad. Then the third thing I have here is a piece of, these are the adhesive sheets, permanent adhesive sheets, I guess they call them. And this was a gem in the catalog that I really didn't pay much attention to until I got this quilt bundle. And yeah, now I've stocked up on it because it is a staple. What this does is it's an adhesive that we're going to lay down, and there's other ways to use it also. You could put it when you cut this out, but for what we're doing here, we're going to take a piece of this, and I cut it just a smidgen smaller than this piece. So we have 3 by 3 square, then 2 7/8, and then this is actually 2 3/4, or yes, 2 3/4. So we peel off one side of this adhesive. It's very sticky. I usually get a little bit on my fingers, but if you just rub them together, it'll ball up and come off. And then we are going to lay that down. And this is why I cut it just a little bit smaller, because it's easier to place it on there. You're not having to line up everything. Patricia, calico print for the background. That would be really pretty as well. So rub that on there good. And then you're going to pick this one up. You'll see, now I have to be careful because it is super sticky. So now I have all the adhesive on there. And then we're going to take this frame, which is what we're really going to build our quilt around, and stick it down. And again, because it's smaller, we can lay it on there. And what I do, this first piece I peeled off, okay, remember the scrap? I like to save that, and I stick that back on here, and I can use that with my fingers to rub this down. Because I have to be careful because that adhesive is so sticky. And pick it up. And there is the basis for our quilt. Got little glue boogers. Rub them off my hands. Now, I've got all these pieces, so we can really just start creating. And I think I'm going to start with our Night of Navy. And we will take these and we'll stick them in the inside of our star. This is where that adhesive is so awesome, because I don't have to put any adhesive on here to try to stick them down. You know, it's all sticky there, so you just have to be careful. Kind of fun. So there, we have filled it all in. So there is quilt number 1. Now, before we go and finish this card, I think I'm going to just go ahead and do quilt number 2 for you, because then we'll get some of these pieces out of the way here. So we're going to take our adhesive sheet, just like I did the first time. There is quilt number 2. So we'll go back to our first quilt, and I have a piece of Night of Navy here, cardstock, and we'll start with this one. And look, we still have glue boogers on the fingers, so everything's sticking. And let's see. So this one, let's use the words that came in our set. 1 3/4 inch punch. So I stamped this just on a scrap piece of paper, and I'm going to punch it, and I want my words way down to the bottom, and you'll see why here in just a second. what I'm going to do is grab my adhesive. My favorite adhesive, and what I probably use the most for many different situations, is the multi-liquid glue. I have for years and years and years. Some of my friends think I'm crazy. They've tried it. They don't like it. The key is you don't need very much. And I think that's why some people don't like it, because it's really easy to put too much on there and then it gooshes. But one reason I like it is it's forgiving. I mean, I have time. If that wasn't where I wanted it, I can peel it back up, stick it back down, and you can kind of slide it around, which you'll see on, I think, my third card where that's a little critical. So there's that piece, and then all I'm going to do is take my card front and then grab some dimensionals. I like to call these stamp and crack, because you have to have tons and tons of them. You can't live without them. So we'll just stick that on the front of our card, and we're going to call that done for card number 1. So we'll set that one aside. Card number 2. Okay, we already built our quilt. So we're going to fold this one in half. Use our bone folder here, get a nice crease in it. Now I have already embossed this with a, I think it's quilt top embossing folder, I believe it's called. And I don't know if you can see, but on this side, all the little stitching lines are raised. And then when I flip it over, all the little stitching lines are pressed down in it. So you can really use this either way. And I'm going to actually use it both ways on this card, and it just adds some fun dimension. But for this one, I didn't have to think. But my quilt top, I want to run through that too. And on this one, I want those stitching lines to go down into it. So in most cases, the way they make these, where the Stampin' Up! Logo is, if I was to go this way, and I always have to think, yep, the stitching lines are going to pop up. I'm going to do it essentially backwards in the folder, you know, if you really want to call it backwards, because like I said, I want those stitching lines going down like a quilt. So we are going to grab a different stamp set to do the words in here. This is called Lovely Friends. Night and Navy ink. Put it on here. Give it some good press. You know, especially with photopolymer, you want to hold it on there a little bit and let that ink transfer. That came out pretty good. So we're going to let that set aside to dry for just a second. And then I have another greeting out of that same stamp set that says, what I put on here, I'm honestly feeling very blessed. So we're going to stamp this one on a piece, okay, I just have a scrap paper again, and I'm going to stamp it right down nice and straight at the bottom. This is why I love photopolymer stamps, because it's very easy to see where I'm stamping. Now, like I said, I tend to just stamp and then trim it. There is our piece that's going to go on the front of our card. So we are ready to put it together. Now, we talked a little bit about the multi-purpose glue. And this time, I want the raised stitching to be up. But I'm going to use this glue. And remember I said, someone asked about it bubbling and so forth. The key is not very much. And, I mean, I spread it out like this, but I have my tip. You can kind of hear it. At least I can. I don't know if it's picking it up. But as I'm rubbing it, I'm barely giving any pressure. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there is not much on there. It doesn't take much. And see how I can slide it around? I like that for placing things down. It just makes it a little bit easier, but it will not bubble. You will not notice even on the back side. And I'm using Whisper White, which is one of our thinner cardstocks. Like I said, it's just kind of my favorite. So, okay, where's our dimensionals? This, of course, has to be. Okay, we'll stick that on there, and then let's stick a couple on our greeting. So why don't we just stick that like so. And so to do my bow, I'm just folding it in half because I want to double it up here, and then I will tie my bow. Again, when I write tutorials, I generally do not give sizes or lengths of ribbon because I don't know. I like to just tie it before I cut it. Okay, pull your little tails here to get them how you want it. And then I can trim it off. I think you get the least amount of waste that way. Quite often people ask me, what adhesives do I need? My answer usually is all of them. I believe all adhesives have a purpose. Glue dots, okay, these I always use to put little things or little pieces of ribbon or bows. I have my bow all tied, and you just stick it down onto the glue dot and you pop it up, and the glue dot sticks to this and it holds wonderfully. And there is our little bow on there. Oh, now we're going to go on to card number 3, and we used the card front a little bit when I started. This is where the blue pieces came from. Our Night of Navy pieces on both these cards were the ones that got cut out of here. So now we're going to come back and finish this card. Figure I better use the stamp set a little bit more for you guys. And we're going to use this piece, okay, which I have mounted here, and then we're going to fill in all the parts of the star by stamping them rather than by paper. So this is our stitching lines, and we're going to ink this up. I have the basic gray, and we're just stamping on scrap paper. So there's the shape of our quilt. A couple people tell me they struggled lining them up, and they actually snipped them apart, and that way they just stamped one at a time and they felt they could line them up better. One reason, and I told them this and it was too late, they had already cut them apart. I think where people struggle with lining these up, it's very bendable, being photopolymer. And if I just take this and I put it on here, you know, using my hands, and I'm going to exaggerate a little bit here, but it's real easy to kind of bend it, okay? And it's not how it's supposed to be. And now it's not going to line up. So pieces like this that, you know, are kind of sensitive to keeping them nice and straight, what you want to do is like literally just plop it down, okay? I'm not trying to bend it or anything, but just plop it down, upside down, then take your block and pick it up with your block. This way, it should stay in the shape it is meant to be, and it really will help line things up. So that's another little tip. Let's go ahead, and we're going to ink it up with Night of Navy. So it goes in here, and again, it's photopolymer, so I can see. We'll line it up. Oh, pretty good. A smidgen off, but hey, smidgen is okay. Though, crushed curry, same thing. We're going to plop that one in there and plop that one in there. Okay, and we're going to cut this one out. So here is another one of the framelits, and you'll see that matches that up really nice. This is where that magnetic platform really makes a difference, because I can move this around and get it exactly where I want it. Pop that out. So there is our piece, and then let's use the other part, the other die here. This is the one I showed you earlier that won't cut anything. It's going to put stitching lines in here. So we'll line it up right on top of this one. It kind of sticks. Oh, can you see that? If I turn it a little bit, but you can see all the little stitching lines. How cool is that? So here is our card. Now we're going to kind of do a fun fold with our card here. And because it's a window card, this piece is going to go inside like so. Okay, and we'll finish that off in just a second. And we're going to have it so it opens up that way. Always stamp before you assemble that. I'm going to put my adhesive, and again, okay, maybe on this one you can see it better. There's not a lot there. Okay, I've been talking about this adhesive a lot. So we'll just stick it on there. Okay, so that's what our card's looking like. So we're going to open that way and that way. Now our quilt that we made, we want this inside here. So when we, you know, we can see it through it. We open it up, we'll see it, and then we'll open up and we'll see our words. So as I'm placing it down there, I'm kind of half folding it, okay, to get it where I want it. So that way I got it nice and lined up in there. These are all stamps out of that same Lovely Friends stamp set. Okay, and I think for the sake of time, rather than embossing, I'm going to show you my finished one here. So with this one, okay, there's our everything I've done so far. But I embossed using white embossing powder down on the bottom. So we have, you are one of the best. Yes, you make me ridiculously happy. So fun words in that lovely friends, and you can mix and match them. Again, I don't pre-cut it, okay? And we're gonna just feed it through. This is the crinkle seam binding. Please Stampin' Up! If anyone out there is listening to me, we need this in every single color. This is the absolute best, best ribbon. It is soft. It's flexible. I always say I'm bow illiterate. I can't tie bows very well, but I can tie them with this stuff. It just ties so nice because it's so soft. Look at that. I think I did it. I want to, before I leave you guys, just give you a sneak peek. As you know, I do a card kit with a tutorial, 2 different ones every month. Okay, back to my monthly tutorials. Every month I do 2 different online classes along with tutorials. You can get the card kit and the tutorial for free by placing an order by the 10th of every month. I always have 2 different ones to pick from. Otherwise, you can purchase just the tutorial, or you can purchase the card kit as well. So I wanted to give you a sneak peek of the one coming up October 1st. It'll be posted, but we're using this quilt bundle. So if you haven't purchased it yet, it's time for you to purchase it. Purchase it in October and get the card kit to make these 3 cards, along with instructions and video, and then this fun project. It's one of the pizza boxes, and then inside is some 3x3 cards with envelopes. And I have a bonus for everybody that gets the online class, whether you get it for free or you purchase it. I'm going to include step-by-step instructions for the 3 projects that I did in the video as well. Now, I told you all the dimensions, and you can go back in the video and you can figure them all out. But I'll give you the written instructions along with bonus projects with the card kit. Let's see. Let's look at these. I have 4 cards here that are Christmas ones. Okay. You get such different looks depending on how you arrange those pieces. So all of these cards that I'm showing you now, a couple are on my blog already. Otherwise, they will be in the coming couple of months. Here's 2. I thought, what a cute baby card that would make. And again, you can see the pieces here. Cut those out at the same time and did those 2. There's a couple more. This one, I made that card. I do. And then there are some more quilts. I haven't made these into a card yet, so I have to do something with those. See, that one I've posted. I know that one's been on my blog already. And then there is one that I did at the same time using the same different pieces. Again, thank you guys so much. This was fun. It wasn't as scary as I thought it would be. So again, thank you so much. Let me know if you have questions. You can always contact me or email me. I'm here to help you. Stampin' Up! Is pretty much my 24/7 craziness job, if you want to call it job. I don't feel like it's a job. I just have fun. But if you're looking for a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and need to place an order, you can do so right at my website, clomptonstampers.com. And so again, thank you so much, you guys. I look forward to doing this with you again. Have a great day.